Well, I'm delighted to be joined here today by Tim Bodill from Pimberly. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks, Doug. Hi, good to see you.
Yeah, and the reason I've got you on the call today is because Pimberly have backed the Must Know Distributors report this year. So, firstly, Tim, can you tell us why Pimberly is backing this report?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Doug. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I'd say, really, this report is the one that everybody waits for. It's the only report that really profiles the top UK distributors. And clearly, there's a quantitative measure in terms of seeing where you sit amongst your peers in the industry. But I think the fact that you're able to get to talk to the leaders of the majority of those businesses and get insights and present that in a summary way that just doesn't exist anywhere else is quite unique. So we're delighted to be able to work with you in terms of supporting that.
No, great. And I've shared a couple of the top line findings with you ahead of publication. So, was there anything that really leapt out for you?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that really struck me. Firstly, the contribution, well, the overall top line numbers back to growth again, which is a great sign. But there was also quite a contribution to that increase from some of the smaller players. And I think what that shows is that better technology in those smaller players is definitely making a big contribution. The market has room for growth across the board, growth in the larger players, but also for those smaller innovative players coming into the market. Yeah, the other thing I noticed was the point about marketplaces and how businesses are looking to identify themselves differently in the future. It's something that I see a lot more of, and I think that there's a few drivers for that. One of them being new legislation like the whole ESPR legislation, which will lead to digital product passports. A major factor in driving evolution in the way that businesses present themselves to their customers and also interact with the supply chain. And I think a big thing that really stood out for me was some of the big names that are appearing in some of these smaller players, Alex Tatham, Graham Watt, that kind of individual. Those people are going to make a big difference on just how that evolution works and how it plays out.
Yeah, definitely. You've picked out a couple of really key trends there. So, number one, the marketplace aspect is that, Pax 8 brands itself as a commerce marketplace, and Geocom does as well, and pretty aggressively. Like Pax8 actually has taken pot shots at the distributors. Very clear that it's not a distributor, and that's hence why we've rebranded it slightly this year. And the other one you picked out was obviously the industry grandees. It's the kind of must-have accessory of 2025 for
Yeah,
distributors. Graham Watt, as you mentioned, Ian Kilpatrick as well, recently joining
sure.
North Amber, and I think it's the contacts that these people have, particularly these distributors may be looking to make acquisitions. These industry grandees are priceless for them, I think. Um,
Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. But I also think that this evolution is going to require a lot of change in terms of really understanding how to best identify yourself and how to really take advantage of the technology, looking at how you can use AI to drive growth, to how you can become more efficient. And clearly, we think that the product data plays a big part in that. We believe that product data is going to increase in value over time. It will be a simple fact that if you've got good product data, your products will be easier to accommodate and easier to get to market and quicker to get to market. If you don't have that, then there's going to be a cost to it. So I think the big players are going to be absolutely essential, and the big names, in particular, with the experience in highlighting how to best manage that evolution.
yeah, that's true. And just two final trends to highlight. Yeah, although revenues were up, the return to growth, I think, TD Synnex had a good year. That was part of it, and some of the smaller ones, as you said. But the headcount overall looks like it's a little bit down year on year. So they've obviously been cutting headcount, doing more with less. And the other one that's interesting is people sometimes talk about distribution as if it's a bit of a staid sector with no new entrants coming in. But actually, six of the companies in the 50 have been founded this decade. So did you have a view on either of those trends?
Well, I think the headcount piece, plays to the last point I was making, really, that those that are able to really make use of the technology that's available to them, that are really driving AI into their product management and product selection, they're going to have a more efficient model. I remember the days of Disties being absolutely rammed full of people in the product management team managing the filter of information coming from vendors. And I think the more efficient you can become in in acquiring that data and then presenting it to your customer gives you competitive advantage, gets you to market quicker, and reduces your costs. So yeah, I think that's a trend that we'll see continue.
No, brilliant. All right, thanks, Tim. Well, really appreciate you running us through your slant on the report, and yeah, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks very much for the opportunity.